Alright guys, I am back again today, and I know this is probably one of the videos that was more, I don't know how to call it, like more excited for you guys to see, that I was more excited for you guys to see. Because this is actually one of my glitter cups, and this is what we call a swirl. So yes, I have already started this cup just because if I couldn't show you a full beginning to end, because that will take like at least a week of, of recording and doing everything. So, but I will show you or tell you the basics. With this cup, I added the glitter. So you can either use Mod Podge, epoxy, you can use spray glue, spray adhesive. You can use a lot of different things to put glitter on a cup. I use epoxy just because I am very comfortable now using epoxy. Then I put the glitter, and then I actually do a little sealer coat. And then on top, we're going to be adding some swirls with some powders that are called mica powders, that are it's an all-natural colorant that comes from rocks. So in order to do that, to start with that, we are gonna add a clear coat of epoxy, and this is just going to allow, well, this is kind of moving on me a bit more than I would like, but that is just going to allow for our glitter to flow, not our glitter, sorry, our mica, which is actually mixed into epoxy as well. I have done that before I started the video, because mixing the epoxy can take about 10-15 minutes, and it was literally just me stirring. So I want to add a good thick coat just because I want a nice pretty swirl. Make sure you get your butts. This is what you call the bottom of the cup, the butt of the cup. So you want to make sure you get all of the tumbler. Alright, so when working with tumblers, working with epoxy, you always want to use gloves. Just because a lot of people, oops, sorry y'all, are very sensitive to epoxy, and they can develop rashes. I have seen people have their face completely blown from the epoxy, from having an allergic reaction. Some of the things that you need are heat, a heat gun, or a lighter. Because it is really loud, I'm not going to be using that in the video. You can use alcohol. I just use 70, 91, whichever I can find, and that is going to pop bubbles. So epoxy creates this little bubbles that alcohol will pop. You don't want to use a lot, but you know, just a couple of sprays to kind of get them off. So this is mica powder. Is literally a powder. So it is actually found a lot in eyeshadows, and you can actually use this as makeup because this is natural. So this is actually going to be better than eyeshadow. I'm gonna show you guys if you can see on my hand. Yeah, you can see it pretty good, and they have all kinds of colors. I'm going to be using this blue because this is actually going to be a Dallas Cowboys tumbler for a good friend of mine, and it comes off really easy too, but don't have anything like a heat gun or a blow dryer floating around, because it will go everywhere. So I have several different blues, or two different blues. I have a dark blue, and I have a lighter blue, and then I have some white. So when working with white, if you want your white not to mix into your other colors, you do want to add just a little bit of acrylic paint. Not too much because it will become stringy. But like for example to this, I added about 2 drops of acrylic paint. Alright. So I am going to start with my dark color just because I want that to be in the bottom. And they do want this cup to be glitter, but they don't want a lot of the glitter showing through. So we'll see if we can get that effect. So we are just going to swirl. Make sure if you are working with epoxy, you have something to catch at the bottom, because it will go all over the place, and this does dry hard, so you want to make sure you do it somewhere that it's okay to get messy. Don't forget to get your butt, and as this swirls, the mica will also swirl. Because I want this blue, because this is the darker blue, I want this blue to cover as much as the glitter as possible, which is why I'm gonna add almost all of it first. Then I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my white. Then I will go with my more of a Dallas Cowboys blue. I think the other blue is a little bit more closer to their color, but I want to try and add as much glitter as I can with this one. Some of you may be asking if I could add just a little bit of glitter after. It won't give the same look that I'm going for, but that is another technique that you could use. Alright, no, we're going to do a little bit of white to kind of blend that a little bit in. Alright, and now we're going to go with the other blue. And see, this is why I wanted to add, because that white is pretty strong. This way I was able to cover it in with this other blue. I should be wearing gloves right now, but luckily I am not sensitive to epoxy, so I don't get reactions to it. That doesn't mean that I never will. But to this specific brand of epoxy, I don't have any type of reactions. I have tried several different kinds, and so far so good. Alright, so I am going to say I'm sorry really quick, because I am going to add a little bit of heat to it just to kind of help swirl, and it is pretty loud. Ooh, if I can get it out. So I am so sorry. As you guys can see, that it is starting to swirl a little bit more. And keep in mind that this epoxy will more than likely be wet and moving for about 2-3 more hours. So what it looks like now, it is not what it's going to look like in the morning. But I will for sure share a picture after it is fully completed. I think it needs a little bit more white, so I'm going to let that swirl for a little while, and I am going to add more white. I didn't add any white to my bottom, so I know I need a couple more there. But this is just one of the many techniques that can be achieved with tumblers and glitter. There are so many different designs and styles and really things that you can do. Alright, and I will go back with that. Well, I don't know, it's looking pretty cool, I think, at least, or at least from my side, from my area, from my side of the video, it looks pretty cool. You know the saying that enough is enough. I think we are getting to that point. Or stop while you're ahead. Well, good thing that I wasn't using epoxy when the camera went off. But this cup turner will churn for about 4 hours. And then I actually have it set on a timer where it will cut off by itself. But it will need to churn for at least 4 hours, because if I stop it, it will start to drip. So it has to constantly run for at least 4 hours. It will still be wet, so you do not want to touch it. It'll be probably 24 hours before I am able to sand and add a decal. And then after I've added my decal, I will do another coat of just epoxy so that I can seal the decal in. And then after that, the cup does need to sit for 72 hours so that it is fully cured. Whenever working with epoxy, you want to make sure that your epoxy is fully cured, because it can be toxic if it's not. So depending on the brand of epoxy that you're buying, you have to be very careful with your ratios. The brand I use is a 1:1 ratio, which is mostly what all of them are. Well, that is it, guys. I hope you guys have a good night. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You know where to find me. Bye-bye.